ultimate deck podcast. Need a show about outdoor living? This is where it's at. With your hosts, Shane Chapman and Way Laurent. Thank you for tuning in. Now let the show begin. Yeah, the ultimate deck podcast. Let's go.
Welcome back, everybody. Wade and Shane from the Ultimate Deck Podcast here for round 3. I know these came out 1 week apart, but we did them all on the same day. It's a lot. I have a headache.
You should.
How are you now?
You should hydrate better.
I should.
I've been hydrating like crazy over here.
You don't think Monster energy drinks are doing the trick?
It's mostly water.
Before this, I had
sugar.
a iced coffee from Tim's, and then I had a coffee from my house. And so I'm just like coffee, energy drink.
Oh, man. And then you recorded a video. That video
Yeah,
you
I did.
recorded.
So I'm convinced that you actually watched that on 1.2 times. Because when I fired it up, it was defaulted to that too. And then when I slowed it down to 1, it sounded a lot more normal. But that said, I was trying to rush through it.
I had to have been watching it at 1.2, if not 2.2.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Well, that's not my fault. That's your fault.
We're playing around with some new tools, and one of the tools we're using is called Loom, and it's a way for us to deliver a video with a quote, just to try and bring a little bit of personal touch to the estimates that we send out to people. And Shane built a video and then sent it to our internal team so we could watch it. And obviously I had it set to the wrong speed because it was like, and then you're going to be able to do this, and you're going to, it like sounded like an auctioneer, man.
Have energy, trying to get people to buy in, you know? We just got back from Winnipeg, Canada. Final year, because the reason we go there is for our WRLA annual, they call it a product showcase.
Product showcase.
The Western Retail Lumber Association. And so every 3 years, the show moves around some other city of Western Canada. Prior to this, it was Calgary, then it was Winnipeg.
So that's actually not that. So it doesn't typically move around, which is like one of the reasons we've started. So I joined on the board 5 years ago, I believe. And one of the things that we wanted to change was that the show didn't move much. So it started in Regina, then it went to Saskatoon, and it was in Saskatoon for 16 years.
Holy smokes, okay.
Right. And so anyways, then like bounced around a little bit. Then went to Saskatoon, 16 years, and then went to Calgary, and it was in Calgary for 6 years. And when we were on the board, we were discussing this, and what we talked about was that we have a responsibility to our membership to move this thing around so that it's like closer or becomes more available for different members, right?
Sure.
So we moved it to Winnipeg. We were there for 3 years, and we knew that the time, like the day we signed in Winnipeg, we were pretty sure that we were going to move it again to somewhere else so that we could,
spread the love.
Right. Help the BC members, right? So
by putting it in Edmonton.
So we went closer. We're in Edmonton.
Settle down, BC. We're not quite going
That's too far over because we have some, of course, there's always the opportunity to go there because the flights are good and accommodations are good and the convention centers are great. But any of your retailers or vendors from Northern Ontario would have very little
Trying
interest.
to keep it somewhat central.
You have to.
Which means Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba.
Yep.
So anyways, we just got back from Winnipeg. It's great there, excuse me. that was
a facetious
that wasn't
pause.
Indigestion from saying that out loud, but everybody always says oh yay, Winnipeg in January. If you haven't I don't want to oversell it either, but if you're doing a convention in Winnipeg in January, it's fantastic because the entire downtown is linked through by tunnels and skywalks and everything else. We showed up, you were there earlier for meetings, but we and most people would have showed up probably on the Tuesday.
Yep.
And me and most people would exit on the Friday. So you're there for 3.5 days.
Yeah.
You don't have to go outside.
You don't have to go outside. You
parked
can.
my truck in the parkade, left my jacket in the hotel room, and never went outside again. And in that time, I went to a Winnipeg Jets hockey game.
Yeah.
Went to the convention center a couple times.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. We went to one bar one night that an event was being held at a little bit ways away. So I guess we went outside one time. But for the most part, you can get everywhere downtown through tunnels and not have to go outside. So it's actually kind of perfect. You can get the convention center from the hotel and the rink from the hotel. And
one of the things that I think Winnipeg did really well was they leaned into the fact that everybody jokes and it's like everybody talks about Winnipeg being so inhospitable in the winter. And it probably is one of the coldest places. But so just know that and then lean into it.
The rich irony of this, though, is that everybody that's going there is from Regina, Saskatoon, Edmonton, and Calgary and surrounding communities that are pretty much the same weather.
So when they actually, the majority of Western Canada went to Winnipeg, and it was warmer in Winnipeg than anywhere else.
Right.
So,
regardless, we're back from that. It's done, and now it's moving to Edmonton, which is nice just for a change.
it'll be good for a change. The convention center that we're going to go to in Edmonton will be nice. The ease of walking from your hotel is gone. That doesn't exist.
I gotta be honest. It would not have saddened me to go back to Winnipeg next year for that reason alone.
Yeah.
Because I know when we used to go to in Calgary, we used to try to get an Airbnb close by to the BMO Center, because then we could just kind of walk over, and it was fairly convenient too, but it's not as convenient as just walking through the skywalks.
Yeah.
So going to Edmonton, where it's going to be required to take a cab or an Uber to get everywhere.
There'll be shuttle services. That was one of the things that was requested in the bid, was that the city provides shuttles, which is, it's not great, but it's
okay.
It's fine.
But
the city itself should be pretty fun, as long as it's not minus 50.
Right. Okay. Well, is what it is. We'll see what it's like next year.
We'll be there for a few years.
Going to Rogers Place and Rogers Place.
That's Center.
I thought Rogers Center for Oilers games excites me a little bit more than Jets games.
Even though Winnipeg is the best team in the NHL
right now, but there's more exciting players on the Edmonton squad. So like
Corey Perry,
if nothing, like Corey Perry. You think he's going to be there still by next January?
As long as they don't have
released again. Okay, today's topic is very timely. 2024. What are we expecting for trends in the outdoor living and deck space?
Oh, this is fun.
So we have a dozen items we're going to tackle here. So we'll try not to spend too much time on any given one, because 12 is a lot. Number one, sustainable materials. So obviously with, you mentioned the last podcast that like humans are essentially here to burn this place to the ground, this whole planet. So we're conscious of that.
Prove me wrong.
Sustainable materials are part of that fight. So people are kind of like, some people don't care. Some people are like, I want to use something that's a little bit more green friendly. And there's certainly lots of options out there that can cater to that. A lot of the materials that are used in decking are recyclable. Are recycled, and a lot of other ones are recyclable. So, for example, if you're worried about you don't want to use lumber, you want to cut down trees, you don't have to. You could use steel framing. It's like, but that was mine. It's like, yes, but it's like infinitely recyclable.
Correct.
So you're going to frame your deck out of it, and you're going to get 70 years out of it, and whoever takes that thing down can recycle all that metal and turn it into something else if they want to.
Yep.
The composite on top, 95 on average, recycled material. You're saving stuff from the landfill. You're building a beautiful deck out of it. Your railing, who knows what you're using for that? Could be aluminum, could be steel. Again, all like recyclable and whatnot. So it's certainly possible to be environmentally friendly when you're planning your outdoor project.
Yep.
Integrated technology. So this is a fun one. So people, much like our homes inside, our homes outside are also getting quite techy with built-in speakers and lighting and different entertainment systems. You're kind of like, why not?
Yeah, and you can have, sort of covered in areas where you can have a TV that's hidden behind stuff, or it can, pop up from one of the shelves or the bars. So.
Or like fire features that like dance to music and stuff.
Yep.
Like that's not for everybody, but like that's pretty cool. And you go to a trade show and there's like music playing, it's like and the flames are dancing and stuff. It's like if your purpose is entertaining in your backyard, that'd be a pretty neat little party trick.
This space has started to lean into that a little bit, which is great.
Yeah.
So
smart lighting is always a great option inside and out too. So multi-purpose spaces. Decks used to be somewhere that you'd go out and like have a hamburger when it came off the barbecue, and that was it.
I feel like they were very, very underused.
Right.
Back in the day.
Yep. But now they're becoming whatever you want them to be. The idea of an outdoor office is still very appealing to me, especially as people are working from home more and more. It's like you don't have to be inside in an office in the basement. You could build yourself a small spot outside and enjoy the breeze and being outside, and like how much more calming is that to be sitting outside getting some work done than sitting holed up in the house?
Yeah, I don't know that I would ever want an office outside.
It doesn't need to be an office,
but for me, a deck is always like leisure every time.
Sure. Yep.
And so,
but I know I've spent time on the deck before with the laptop, and it's like versus sitting at the kitchen table or versus sitting at a desk inside. Like if it's a nice day out, why not enjoy it while you're getting your work done as well?
Yeah.
But that's not the only thing you can use it for. Obviously, people are using it for, like, it's not just single purpose anymore. There's like, people are like, I want a kitchen area on my deck. And I also want a dining area.
And especially when you start talking about like the smoker craze, everybody's like basically set this up. Yeah.
And some people are starting to look towards using their outdoor living space as gyms, fitness areas. So you could have a portion of your deck or your backyard or your patio that's dedicated to a little bit of fitness equipment out there. Same thing. If you have nice weather, why not go outside and enjoy doing that stuff outside?
Yep.
Doesn't necessarily need to be in the living room. So yeah, those multi-purpose, multifunctional spaces definitely are a trend that'll continue into 2024. Outdoor kitchens and dining areas. We just kind of alluded to that.
Yeah, there you go.
Pizza ovens. Those have become a very trendy thing. Both like the clay ovens you can build out of like a hardscape type material, but also like what's that one brand? Onu, whatever it is.
I don't remember, but they're all
over the place now.
Propane fired one.
Yeah. So like
steel box.
Integrating those into an outdoor kitchen in some aspect is pretty easy to do now. Your point about smokers. So a lot of times now when people are coming in looking for a kitchenette or kitchen design outside, they want to obviously plan for their barbecue. Like I have a barbecue on it built in. I also want a shelf for my smoker. Yep. It's becoming very common that people have both those things: a barbecue, a smoker, and now sometimes a pizza oven as well. And why not? It's fun. You're not gonna have a pizza oven in your house, like your oven, but like it's just more fun.
It's just more fun
to have a pizza out of a pizza oven. You know,
they taste better too.
Refrigerators as part of that too. So
certainly.
Who wants to be yelled at by their dad going into the house? Close the damn door! You're letting all the cold air out.
Yeah,
you just had
or actually wanting
fridge
to
outside.
Do that, right? Like who actually even wants to get up and go inside?
Yeah,
you're outside because it's beautiful outside. That's where you want to be.
Well, I know, like even at my in-laws, they got a cabin, but their primary hangout space outside is a patio that's like it's 100 feet from the house. Yeah. It's down towards the lake, and it's like. You don't have to run back up to the house every time you want to grab another beer or grab another Coke. So it's nice to be able to have like this little built-in functional cabinetry and kitchen, whatever, at the leisure place too.
Yep. Absolutely.
Seamless indoor to outdoor transition. So this one's certainly starting to gain some steam too. I know I've done some 3D designs for some people that were like, when they were picking their decking colors, they were wanting to match it closely or at least complementary to their indoor flooring. And they wanted to make sure that the height of the floors were very similar so that when they came out of their sliding patio door, it was a seamless transition, both in aesthetic and feel, coming from inside to outside. So that's becoming more of a thing, that people are wanting to carry that aesthetic through both spaces.
Yeah, and that like goes back to who even knows which podcast it was, but we had talked about that and building an extension of your house outside where it just costs a little bit less money to build it. You know, it's a little bit less expensive to build it outside than it is to build a part of the house.
But the most common thing maybe that people usually do is they try to match their outdoor decking to their other outdoor things. Like, well, my house siding is this color, therefore I want my decking to be this color. Well, my fence is this color, so I want my decking to be this color. And more people are like, no, I want it to match the inside of the house, not the outside of the house.
Yeah.
So being an extension of that indoor space.
Absolutely. And that can make that whole space a little bit more inviting.
Bold colors and patterns. So neutral is always going to probably be the most dominant. People are always going to go for those kind of neutral grays, neutral browns. And that's probably even smart if you're looking at it from resale value. But if you're wanting to add some charisma and some character to a space, then colors that pop. I always say that one of my favorite colors, not my favorite, my favorite color on that wall of our decking samples that are on there is wolf teakwood. Because it's the brightest one that pops off the wall. Yeah. It's just fun. It's like vibrant. I think it looks fantastic. It doesn't sell very well at all.
No.
Tiki Torch from Trex would be a similar kind of thing, just not quite as vibrant. But then you look at like Fibron Cottage, just a plain gray, #1 seller, not close all the time.
Not even close.
Right?
Yep.
But imagine like going into a space, it's like, it's the same as going into somebody's house who the walls were painted a light beige because that's what home builders do. And versus going into somewhere that like an interior designer's done the decorating, there's a feature wall and there's accent rugs and there's accent furniture. And it's like, that's always wow factor.
Right now they're super popular. They're painting them a black or like a charcoal. And then they have like really light pine, sort of like strips of pine nailed on it.
Yeah.
that looks so sharp.
Yeah.
Like so sharp.
Yeah. So that's exactly that, right?
You can do
bold
stuff
colors
like
and
that.
patterns and stuff like that
Yeah.
are becoming more of a thing.
Yeah.
And that's, I think people need help with that too. I certainly don't envision that perfectly all the time. I know when we like, if I was going to design my own house, that's not something I feel like I don't know all the options and I don't have the vision to be able to be like, yeah, we should get this kind of chair and to go with this rug and then this accent wall.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so there's people that are really good at that. Maybe you need to hire somebody for your outdoor space as well. Number 7 is privacy features. So obviously a very, very prominent thing that's happened in the last, as yards get smaller and city living gets tighter and privacy shrinks.
Yeah, you're just so much closer to your neighbors, right?
Yeah.
It's so funny. Everybody comes in at every single person that has ever asked us for a privacy, not me, asked me for a privacy wall. It's like, well, like, I don't hate my neighbor, but I just don't want to be right there with them, you know?
Yeah.
And so maybe that's your opportunity. Like maybe you want your decking to be, you know, a little more plain or a little bit like just not so crazy, but your feature wall, your privacy wall could do that for you, right? There's an opportunity to bring that teak wood in, or there's an opportunity to do some bold patterns and bold lighting. And
yeah, certainly
whatever.
you can kind of check a couple of these boxes with, especially some of those laser cut privacy screens that are out there now in the market from Oasis and Sunbelly and Hideaway and all that. Like they have patterns on them, so they're an artistic touch.
Yep.
While providing functional privacy as well.
Backlight them, like so cool. You can do some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, you start doing stuff like what's her name, Northern Outdoor,
Yeah.
Northern Outdoor, Northern. You know who you are,
Like Eric.
Daniel. Yeah,
Oh yeah, Daniel.
like anyway, that's a whole other level.
Yep.
You want something that's going to blow your effing mind, then hire that guy to come and build your deck for you.
Yeah, or even
Or
design
at least
it.
design it.
Yep.
Low maintenance landscaping. So the trend of people wanting to shift towards composite decking on the deck has been there for some time. Nobody wants to maintain their deck, but that's starting to bleed out into the whole yard too. So synthetic turf, low maintenance plants, like plants that are very hardy and don't require a lot of watering and maintenance. Like people just want easy now.
Some
They wanna
stones.
enjoy the space.
Right?
Yeah, xeriscaping is becoming a very popular thing too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Around my neighborhood, it's like, and even I look at it and be like, do we just like, at least the front yard, because we don't use it for anything. It's just maintenance. Should we xeriscape it? So that's certainly becoming more popular as well. People have less and less time because we're all broke, especially in Canada.
Do we have less time? I
Yeah,
think we just like
we're busier. We don't have less time. We're busier
yeah.
and lazier.
I think we're lazier. That's what I think actually happens. You know?
Yeah.
And there's this push to like have your children in everything. It's like the kids used to be able to just play on the street. And now it's like, well, now they're in dance and singing and volleyball and football and hockey and baseball. And it's like golf. Like, why? Let them be kids. Let them like run around, have imagination.
Yep. Number 9, fire features.
Ooh, I like fire features.
Me too. But fire features, obviously natural gas fire pits have been popular for a while. The integration of fire features into tables and coffee tables and dining areas is always cool. It's not necessarily for the warmth or sitting on the fire, but it's just what am I trying to say? Not an artistic, but it's just like, it just adds an element of interest to a space.
Yeah.
From a design perspective, having a flickering flame where you gather is always really cool as well.
Kev from Raven Builders wants to know if you saw his job site fire feature today.
No, I didn't. I've been recording podcasts since I woke up. I did not. Number 10, innovative lighting.
I'll look at it, Kev.
So we're talking about Northern Outdoor moments ago. It's like he's done some pretty innovative things with lighting, with
Absolutely.
fiber optic lighting and whatnot. Not what this is referring to, but lighting continues to be one of those things that we just continue to tell people, like, dude, like, save some money in the budget for lighting. If you got to scale something else back, do it. But like, don't neglect the lighting in your
Just
backyard.
like I can't. Yeah, we can't stress it enough, and it's really hard. It seems like it's harder to sell because the consumer doesn't think about it. And so when you start to talk about it, they're just like, oh, you're just trying to upsell me. It's like, I actually don't think of it as an upsell. I think it should be part of your deck. I think it should be there.
I think it's just hard for people to visualize the impact it has. And it's hard to show them too, unless you're working with a designer who can render that stuff out for you. But it's like when you come in and you look, it's hard enough for them to look at deck board samples and envision that on their deck.
Yeah.
But it's even harder to look at a light in a box and be like, what does this do exactly on in my space? I don't get it. And they won't get it until then they get the deck built, and it's like, then at night they're like, okay, maybe some lighting would help. And then they get it, like, oh, but how do you get them to understand that before all that is like, that's tricky.
You just need a bunch of pictures, right?
Yeah.
So,
but lighting, like the options for lighting are numerous now. It's become more and more popular. You've got plenty of low voltage lighting options out there. Super cool fixtures that do all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Both functionally and aesthetically, beautiful and safety reasons. Absolutely. But also your solar lights have become more reliable in days. They've become more styled too. Like
they used to be so like gaudy. They were so big and
like
bulky.
Black solar panel and then like it shot light out from somewhere. Yeah. Now there's still lots of that out there too.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
There's some that's more nondescript. It's like now it's like a nice looking light that happens to have a solar panel on it.
And it has some like longevity to it as well. It used to be that the solar lights were so bad. Like they were so bad. They had, they'd be dead in 2 years.
Yeah. At best. Yeah.
So anyways, good to see that progressing. Yeah, certainly.
Health and wellness spaces. So this kind of ties into the multi-purpose spaces a little bit, but as people kind of I'm not thinking gym equipment this time, but just more like open space for relaxation, yoga, meditation, that kind of thing. Just a calming space to like connect your body and soul and mind.
Have you ever tried to do any sort of yoga?
Remember when you tried to hit that guy in the head with the hockey stick and knock his mind out of his body and soul?
I should have had a space in my deck that I could have went and stood at.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't have been so mad that day.
I wouldn't have been an elf space. Well, I wouldn't have been an angry elf trying to hit him in the face. Yoga. Have you ever tried to do yoga?
Yeah, absolutely.
With a dog?
No. Well, like my old dog probably, but
so like at any moment, if I decide that I'm going to like do a sit up or do a push up or lay on the floor because my back hurts, my dog thinks that means we're going to wrestle.
Yeah. I've certainly seen lots of videos of this scenario.
It's so funny. It's just like you're thinking of a health and wellness space and you're like, yeah, we should just like lay down on the deck. It's like, well, I wouldn't until my dog is dead.
Put your dog in the house.
Well, he enjoys the outside as well.
Well, if you'd also like to enjoy it, the dog's got to go in the house.
One or the other.
Yeah, take turns. But yeah, if that's a big part of your life, then having a dedicated space outside planned in is obviously a great idea.
It's missed a call. That's why.
Number 12, water features. So fountains, small ponds. Like I'm a big fan of this. It's not like, here's one of those things where I don't know how to get there, nor do I want to spend the money to get there, but boy, do I appreciate it when I see it, when it's well done. Like I love the idea of ponds. I would love if I had a pond. I want nothing to do with the maintenance of it. I don't want to build it. I don't want to pay for it. I don't want to maintain it, but I love ponds, fish aquariums, that kind of thing. So I could totally get on board with that kind of thing, but that's not the only way to incorporate water. There's fountains, there's like spillover features, there's water bowls,
some of those
all
like
sorts of things you can
knife edge waterfalls are like you could sell me one of those.
Yeah.
I put a little bit of light behind it.
The visual and the sound too.
For me, it's the sound.
Trickling,
so
like
put it in, like you put it on in the evening, and it just drowns out the like screaming neighbors, and it drowns out the sirens. It's like a city has just white noise, right?
Yeah.
And if you can just create this like oasis in your backyard,
I'd be a big fan of that for sure. I know that.
Do you want to answer this call from California?
No. Okay. Hopefully it's somebody fun.
It might be Blake actually.
I'm that person that absolutely loves to walk into a well-manicured backyard that feels like a jungle, but I could never pull it off myself. Like I wouldn't know how to get there.
Ooh, I wouldn't want a full jungle.
Like I think it's really cool. Like Fraser's backyard even, like there's lots of greenery and like that's awesome. I just don't know how to do that. You look at my backyard. My backyard is built within my abilities. Therefore, there's deck, there's a playhouse, there's a lawn.
Mostly finished garage.
Not a tree. There's no tree.
No trees.
Like there's
I got no trees.
But I really like those things. I just don't know how to do them properly. Water features much the same.
Yeah.
I used to have.
Why don't you do this? Why don't you challenge yourself to do that this year? Put a water feature in your backyard.
It's called a rink, which I didn't even do that this year. And here's the reason.
Hard water.
It was too damn warm to freeze the rink until Christmas. So I didn't put it up before then because it was like, well, the ice is just going to be like shit.
Garbage.
It's going to be rotten. So I didn't put it in before Christmas because it was like, won't freeze at +3. And then after Christmas, kind of got back and all of a sudden we went into that cold snap where it was like -50. It's like, well, I'm not going to go out there and do it now. Nor is anybody going to use it right now. So wait till that snap is gone. And that happened just while we were gone last week. Now I'm back. Now it's like
+7.
Getting warm again. And like, I'm only going to get a month out of this, month and a half of use before it's too warm to do again. So I don't like a rink might not happen this year in my backyard, which is unfortunate. But anyway, that's that. I used to have a big fish aquarium like years and years ago, like 10 years ago in my house, like not huge, like a 50-gallon, like pretty good size one. And I like underwater like environments. I like having like the fish aquarium with all the shit built up and the plants there and the fish. Like it's like watching fire, you know, and you can sit there and stare at a fire and it's like mesmerizing. Aquariums are like that for me too. They're mesmerizing. So
that's strange.
A natural like pond in the
So I've
backyard.
heard the science behind why fire is mesmerizing.
Why?
So the flame flickers at the same speed that your synapses in your brain fire.
Okay.
It's like they synchronize. That's what happens. That's why you're able to like.
Well, maybe the fishy's tails also flap.
I was actually thinking about that, and I was like, I wonder if the bubbles move, and it's like, nope, that's way too slow. But
I don't know what it is. It's just like I find that
maybe it's like your God complex. You like to be able to just watch the creatures that you've created, brought into this world, and.
But I think that like I've never gone scuba diving, but I think that
glass.
would be like that would be calming for me. I think being underneath that, away from everything, quiet, and seeing this other world would be like that's something I would enjoy. And I think that's why I like aquariums and stuff like that too. It's like viewing into this quiet, serene world.
I haven't done scuba diving. I've done like a bit of snorkeling, and that's fun. Like it's good. It's quiet. There's no noise.
Right.
It's so quiet.
Yeah.
But it's really unnerving when you swim over a shelf and it's just black.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
That's no good.
No thanks.
Yeah.
I might fall down there.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh, this is real bad.
So that's 12.
What's your
trends
favorite?
to keep an eye out
What do you
for in
think
2024?
does the best in 2024?
Like favorite out of all these, I still think that the outdoor kitchens thing is something that just should be like. I think that's something that everybody should plan for.
That's what people are going to do more of. You think? Hey,
well, that's a different question.
I agree. I was
The
like,
low maintenance landscaping is probably what I think are people going to do more of. Probably that one.
yeah. The kitchens are nice. So to Kevin's point, he was talking about, putting in a grill and a smoker and some like countertops and a sink and a fridge. That becomes so nice. You just go out in the backyard to prep and cook and serve all off of that area. It doesn't heat your house up in the summertime, right? You're not running the stove and you're not in and out of the door and letting bugs in. It's just like,
yeah, I'm a
See,
foodie
that's
and I
nice.
enjoy cooking. And if it's happening on a barbecue, it's like I enjoy it, but my wife is always also like, I don't use the barbecue. That'll kill you. You go do it. It's like, what is that? What is that? You don't care if I blow up in the barbecue?
She actually asked me a question the other day about how much you were insured for. So that maybe that's why she was super
cooking
curious
that
all of
night.
a sudden.
But for me personally, I think that outdoor kitchen, I would personally really enjoy that. I would also love to have just like a sunken living room area with a TV and like a cover over top. Like that to me would be awesome. Like if I go outside and sit down and like watch movies or watch live sports outside in this cozy little environment with a covered roof. It doesn't have to be watertight, just like something to cozy up the space, something to define the space. I feel like
I designed a deck for somebody one
That'd be
time
really good.
that was going to be, they walked, like the deck was 2 feet high or something. And they walked out and I actually put it down to a set of stairs. And then I told them to dig into the ground, like to dig into the earth and then do like pavers and big like retaining wall stone and stuff and a fire table in the middle and do like a sunken living room, but in their backyard. I was like, sink it right into the ground. Yeah. It's like, we didn't get that job. It probably cost too much.
There is something about that changing levels and dropping down.
They were like, I want a car. And I was like, here's a Lamborghini. And they were like, that's not the car.
yeah,
And then they left.
missed the point. But that's it. Keep an eye out for those trends. If you have some trends that you think are on their way, like share them and maybe we'll do another podcast with 12 more trends. But for now,
Want to skim any of these? Nope.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I got no time for that. See you next week.
See you guys.
Hey, thank you for listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Now you know what we're about. Check the site, come and shop. UltimateDeckShop.com. Hit us right away for sponsorships or tell us if you want to collaborate. Let's go. Check us out on any social networks. Thank you for listening.